I tried to record the video. My camera decided it didn't want to record it, so we're just gonna redo all of it, I guess. I'm the Warrior Witch. You can call me Nike. Today's topic is one that was requested actually on my Instagram, so if you're not following me there already, you should be doing that, and I'll put a link. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Can I do it this time? Can I do it? All right, think. This way, here. Yeah, that's the one. That way. I'll put a link here and also in the description. But I made a reel, which is like Instagram's version of TikTok, talking about not doing spell work unless you know how to undo it, and I realized that a lot of you don't know how to undo your spells. So we're gonna talk about it. Please note that anything I talk about in this video is just about my methods, so if you have a different way you like to do things, or you learn a different way, either in the past learned or in the future will learn, don't feel obligated to stick to this one way. There is no one singular method for doing this. But my process starts with an energetic release. So I release all of the energies that have been incorporated into my spell, whether it be herbs or crystals. Maybe if I ask an entity to help me, like a deity to lend me their power, I ask them to release those energies, and I tell them that the working is now complete and they no longer have to do anything in regards to this working. I thank them for their time and energy and efforts, and I release them. Second is a physical dismantling of the spell, if possible, because not every spell has that capability, but things like bags and jars can be. So if you have it in a pre-packaged container like I have here, if there's any wax on the top of the container like I have here, I will remove the wax, I will cleanse every part of it, and then on the inside I will open it up. I will remove all of the items that are inside. So in here I have a lot of herbs, there may be some crystals or some other charm items that you put in there. So you take everything out, separate them, and anything that can be given back to the earth is given back to the earth. Now, some people will bury their spell work, so that's why it's important to know where you're putting them, especially if you have it nearby. It's very helpful because you need to be able to return there later if you need to dig it up for any reason, like undoing the working. So if you've buried your working, you need to go dig it up, and basically I would do the same process for my way of doing things. So you just dig it up, thank the energies, dismiss them, etc. Now, some working is a little bit harder, and if you can't physically dismantle the spell because it wasn't a method used that can be dismantled, or you buried it somewhere that you no longer have access to, like if you moved or if it's on property that, you know, whatever reason, you may have to not only just do the energetic working at home, but you may also have to do a reversal working. So if you can't physically undo that spell, you may have to basically counteract it and negate it entirely through another spell work. This is a lot more involved, and it may not always be successful, so that's why you need to be really careful about the spell work that you do, because if you ever need to undo it, you might not be able to. So you have to make sure that you know you want this to happen. This is definitely the thing that you want to make happen when you do your spell work. Certain smaller things aren't so much to worry about, like self-love, maybe even money. Usually those are fine, but this is especially true with baneful workings, and it's why we tell people, if you're gonna do a baneful working, you need to really, really, really think about it and go through every other method you can think of first, every mundane method to solve your problem. And don't go to a baneful work first, go to a binding or a banishing. Send them away or stop them from doing their action in the first place so you don't have to resort to the baneful working. Because let's say you're mad at somebody who slighted you in some form and you jump right into the baneful working, but then you realize that it wasn't that big of a deal, or they apologize and try to make it up to you. Well, now you've done this baneful working on them and they want to make up with you and make amends, but you've done this energetic working against them. So maybe you were a bit hasty about it. You need to be able to undo that baneful working on them. Could also just be that you felt they've gotten their punishment enough, so now it's time to drop it all. You need to be able to undo the working. I personally don't do a lot of baneful workings myself, but the very, very few I've done, I physically keep. I make sure that I keep it somewhere that is accessible. Now, I have this one here. It's rather small, so it wasn't meant to be anything that was super forceful. It's a small container for a smaller spell, but I've made sure to seal it properly with the wax on top here, and that I've protected myself so that nothing will leak out to me or my space. And if I ever need to undo it, I now have the ability to undo it. I can uncap it, I can scoop everything out, cleanse the bottle, and then throw it away. I only do the throwaway method with baneful workings because I don't want to keep any of that near me, and it is usually rotten is the best way I can put it. So I don't even want to put that in the land around me. So I will throw that away, if possible, as far from me as possible as well. Like if I can find a dumpster on the other side of town or in a different town, all the better. Now, a big part of witchcraft is also making sure that you're not harming the environment. So when you have things like a container, so if you have it in like cloth, if it is a biodegradable cloth, like 100% cotton, you can also bury that and it'll eventually rot away. But things like jars, you don't want to just bury because it's harmful for the environment, and glass takes a long time to decompose. So you don't really want to be putting that in the earth. So this is potentially controversial. This is really up to your preference. If you don't feel like doing this and you want to reuse it for more mundane purposes or whatever, or donate it, you could donate it if you don't want to keep it. But for me, if I have a glass jar like I do for this spell and I wanted to undo it, I would, you know, do all the other methods, do the energetic cleansing and the physical cleansing, and then I would keep it. So you would clean this out of all the stuff, cleanse it energetically, and then I might reuse it for something else. If I don't want to use it for another spell work, I might just use it to hold herbs, or I might like use it to store food things in my kitchen. I might not use it for more magical purposes, but I do still want to keep the jar because it's glass. I want to be environmentally friendly. So that's also a consideration to keep in mind when you're doing spell work, is what the vessel is and what can be done with it should you ever need that container again. Now I will say, undoing a spell is not always because it's gone wrong. Sometimes it's just that a spell is done, or you feel like it's been completed, or you just want to re-up and do it maybe in a different method. So undoing it can sometimes just be, I'm done, so I'm just gonna take it apart and be completely done with it in every single form, not just magically, but also physically. This can also clear up space on your altar, where I keep a lot of my spell work is more off to the side, on or inside my altar. So if you're done with a spell, cleaning up that area can also help you clean up your altar a little bit energetically because you're cleaning some space. Now, if you've invoked the deity for the original working that you were undoing, I would say to give them an offering now that you've undone the spell as a thanks for their continued work in that spell, for their continued energy that they helped to put into it, and to thank them and to help with the dismissing process, to say, I recognize that you did this work and I appreciate it, and so now take this and thanks for sticking around. Is that it? That's all I got. Might be. There's not too much more to this topic, honestly. It's a lot of trial and error and doing what's up to your preference. So, you know, short video this week. And that's all I have. So, see you guys next time, and blessed be.